experimenting with this because in our area, with the weather changes, establishing dryland forage has been super hit and miss. And for us, forage establishment's a huge investment. So we want to make sure we do everything we can to get it to take. We've prepped the seed bed, got it nice and smooth, because we want our alfalfa seed beds really smooth because we can keep it in for about 8 years. And then we broadcast seeded this rye last fall in September. And then this is the result. And we're gonna roller crimp it and no-till in the alfalfa-sainfoin-legume-grass blend. And hopefully we'll be able to get a good catch and a dense stand of forage. The rolled rye should help with moisture retention and building organic matter in our soils. I hope that it'll actually extend the life of our alfalfa stands. If we're seeding into if we get better germination and we've got a healthier stand and healthier soils, we'll actually be able to extend that to 8, even 10 years. Leaving it in, we can leave alfalfa in for 6 to 8 years right now. And that's where if we can incorporate this, we could get it down to doing tillage maybe 2 times in 8 to 10 years, which would be really nice for our soils. But we have to sort of commit to this for 5 years and see how it goes. We can compare some dryland and some roller crimped from last year that was seeded, same seed, but seeded differently and seeded a month apart. Definitely initially the dryland establishment was not as good. It looks like it's catching up. So we'll have to watch how this year goes. That's not a great field that we did the dryland establishment in. Like the soil's not super healthy, but that's where this too will help a lot. Adding this amount of green manure back to our soils a couple times during our crop year, or like during our crop rotation, should help us have better water retention and soil structure and all those things. And hopefully that'll result in better forage yields. We're using 2 seeders because the seeder row spacing on these ones is 7 inches. And we're concerned, last year we seeded on a 7-inch row spacing and had good alfalfa establishment, but quite wide between the rows. So just leaves a lot more space for weed pressure later on in the stand's life. So we're hoping that by training the seeders together, the back one is offset by 3.5 inches. So we should hypothetically be able to shrink our row spacing to 3.5 inches. Ideally, we'd modify our own no-till seeder. We should be front mounted instead of rear mounted to get an ideal crimp. Because right now we drive through it and your wheels hit it first and it doesn't crimp evenly between the wheels. We noticed last year. So this is definitely still experiment stage, but we'd have to get a front mount 3-point hitch for this tractor if we wanted to try and front mount it. We do notice on the field we did last year, the outside rounds where I would lift my seeder, but I wasn't lifting my crimper, where it got crimped multiple times. It definitely, there's less volunteer rye and better established alfalfa.
We've got a pretty good stand of alfalfa there. Well, I think really quite a good stand. What happened there is some of the rye that we rolled regrew and then went to seed, of course, and that's what we're seeing out there now. So that's probably what you don't want your second year, is that much regrowth on rye. The better we can kill this rye, the better off we are. Apparently if you cut it, it'll really regrow. And that makes sense, because if you went in there and swathed that rye, it would all try to drive up more heads again.
We added 2,000 pounds this year. We drove over it twice, and you could even see it lifting behind you as you went. Partially it'll be the rye, but partially I think if you drive over it again with the crimper, you're gonna get better seed soil contact. If there's some seed that wasn't quite pressed into the soil, because you're trying to go through a pretty serious mat. You can see each of the lines, but I'm worried that some of those look more like they've cut it than crimped it. It's all definitely still an experiment. We've actually got red clover in here too, kind of applying most of the same rules that we've applied to breeding and pasture, but to forage stands, right? Instead of just depending on alfalfa. Spread out that risk a little bit.
And theoretically, it would be better a better forage for the livestock because it's more diverse rather than just alfalfa. We've always grown grass with our alfalfa, but if we could get some additional legumes in there too, it'd probably be a good thing.
I feel like we're quite deep.
Look, try to look right up at the coulter, like where the seed hits.
Well, I can see seed right in here.
Is it covered?
Not fully. I mean, it will be when I'm not peeling this apart, but there's definitely like some little alfalfa seeds there.
Sainfoin can't go deeper than half an inch. It actually shouldn't go any deeper than alfalfa.
Ken, the agronomist, was just telling Erin that it's possible that you're better off having that seed up in the mulch and maybe the rain washes it down to the soil surface than you are to try and seed too deep. Too deep, you've probably lost that seed.
So we just took a hose off, so that seed drop is dropping right into the bag, and that's how we collect it to measure it. It's based on the diameter of the drive wheel and the width of the drill and the length. So we went 410 feet and we measure the ounces that one chute drops, which was 1.5 ounces, and times 11.25 because of our drive wheel. That gives a conversion to pounds per acre. We'll try it again at that setting. Well, concerned, see where it was lodged here? And that was that way. I kind of lose track of these rows. I hope we're getting penetration.
So if you look right inside the coulter, you can see where it's not actually getting seed soil contact. We're still just opening up the rye. Like I'm not actually into soil there.
Like our coulters aren't actually cutting quite through it. We need to put more pressure on them so we cut harder.
We're happy with it where the rye is standing properly, but we've got a lot of lodged in this field and concerned that when the rye doesn't fall flat, then we're not cutting deep enough and not getting good enough soil contact. We're gonna try and put another modification on the front of the tractor to sort of straighten out the lodged before we hit it with the seeders. Yeah, this is where the magic happens. This is where we bring Brad things and he just turns them into other things.
I hope this will work.
If it doesn't, we're just gonna see.
I think it'll help quite a bit.
I think so too. I think it's good that they're on such an aggressive angle because it'll just kind of, even it out, hopefully.
Well, we put these things here. We put them at a little bit of an angle. All right. So that they're, so that they follow the ground better. How long does it take, Morgan? Yeah.
Couple days, couple guys.
Yeah. Yep.
You're willing to make some more of these for people?
Yeah, we are.
Roughly be 7,000 to 9,000 pounds per acre to create the actual ideal mulching situation. Yeah, I thought it would be way more than this, to be honest. I'm a bit concerned about that.
1 square foot.
1 square foot.
We cut 3 square feet of fall rye and the total weight was 2.6 pounds. And when you multiply that by 30%, because that's about the dry weight of fresh hay,
that's more than 11,000 pounds per acre.
which is on the high end of what they say you need for a cover crop.
Rather than using a drill, is we just broadcast it. Because for us the seed is cheap, and with this you're hard pressed if you seed 40 acres a day, whereas broadcasting you can seed 4 or 5 times that. So we're probably putting on 250 pounds of rye an acre. it out somewhat?
As I watch from the cab, it's definitely pulling it straight ahead of these coulters. Grabbed quite a chunk, and I was worried it was going to get worse.
And
But it
worked
just,
its way out.
no, it still was holding on to it, but only since that corner. And it was just laying things down. It's like it doesn't seem like it's getting worse.